You are welcome to my channel AW Versatile TV. I am Abdul Wahab reporting for you. The thing is that we are watching a wrestling between groups who were friends earlier, like Kangana Ranawat. Actually, her name should be Kangana Kanawat. Kangana Ranawat, the great actress from Mumbai, and Sanjay Raut from the Shiv Sena. Actually, this Shiv Sena and BJP were friends for long, and their agenda were to target the minority Muslims in India every time. Now we are watching this game wrestling. It is maybe a fake fight or maybe a fight for diverting the real issues of India, the real issues concerning the citizens of India. So when we are watching this wrestling, they might have planning something very disastrous for us. And what is that? That is, after CAP it becomes CAA, then they are planning to bring NRC, NPR, etc. and etc. We should keep watch on them. What is happening, man? They are avoiding questions in the parliament. So whatever it is, we should have to aware all these things, that what is happening behind the curtain. When I'm telling this and point out the CAB, when it was a bill, Citizenship Act bill, it was debating in the parliament. It is late still. At the time, my channel was not there, so I was telling with people, sharing my views with people, but people is people, and they do not do anything. Now I am sharing with a larger group of people about this in CAP, in the debate of parliament. I was seeing, I was watching, and I was listening that Amit Shah, the Home Minister, present Home Minister of India, was denying every charges, that they were not violating any articles of Indian Constitution. And from the opposition, including the Congress, they were putting one after another MPs, and they all found saying that government, the ruling government, the BJP, was violating Indian Constitution from Article 14 to Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Again, after every charges, Amit Shah stood up, and he was found saying again that he was not violating any article of constitutions of India. And he was saying that his logic he was giving is that reasonable classification is there. Reasonable classification, mind it, reasonable classification is there, so he can classify the articles and make another law in the parliament on the basis of reasonable classifications. And he meant to say that in earlier governments, Congress governments, classified articles with reasonable points, reasonable logics. That's why he was also eligible to classify the acts, classify the articles of Indian Constitution from 14 to 21. What are those articles? I'm not going to spoon feed you. Spoon feeding is not necessary. You have to go and buy a book of Indian Constitution. There you can find all the articles one by one. So He was again and again he was telling that under the reasonable classification, he can make a bill, and that bill is not going to violate any constitutional articles. But here I did not find anyone from the opposition to just overwhelm him logically and stop him, put such a point or logic so that his intellect brain should chocked and stopped telling again and again. Under reasonable classification, there are three things should be discussed. Three things is there. One is objective of law. Objective of law. What is your objective behind creating or classifying things and making a new law? Objective of law. So do you understand what is the objective of law? I am telling the next point and come back to the first one again. And next point is intelligible differentia. And third point is rational nexus. Three points must have to look, you must have to take consideration when you are going to classify under the quote reasonable classification the objective of the law. What is your objective of law? I found the entire ruling party MPs to tell us, even their supporters outside of parliament, just like experts in law and constitution, that objective of the law is met. Objective of the law behind creating cap met correctly, logically. But why it is, how it is, you can classify with reasonable logic. But what is that? They are telling that some section of the people in Afghanistan is in a minority, and some section of the people in Bangladesh, they are in minority, and one group of people in Pakistan, they are in minority. Question number one: how do you define those groups or sections of people minority, where it has been written in our constitution? How do you define where there is a commission or report or survey? How do you define a group of another country that they are the minority? Until and unless you read their constitution and you are putting their definition, that means the definitions of minority of the Bangladeshi constitution, Afghani constitution and Pakistani constitution here in India. That means you are the MP of Afghanistan. Are you the MP of Bangladesh? Are you the MP of Pakistan? You are safeguarding the interest of those people who, according to Pakistan constitution, according to Bangladeshi constitution, you are making law here. What an absurd thing! Nobody I found to telling these people, you are not the MP of Bangladesh, you are not the MP of Afghanistan, you are not the MP of Pakistan either. You are the MP of India. You have to go according to the Indian constitution. The Indian constitution says Muslims, Sikhs, and other communities, Christians, Buddhists, Jains, these people are minority according to Constitution of India. According to our constitution, Muslims are minorities. You have to read, you have to correct, you have to take the interest, you have to protect, you have to develop, you have to create law according to your constitution, not the constitution of Bangladesh, Pakistan and Afghanistan. Do you got my point? Next point is that Under the reasonable classification, you can create, make, or pass a bill in the parliament, but you cannot be arbitrary. You cannot be arbitrary. Arbitrary is the most important thing. This arbitrary, they were explaining, but I did not find any opposition MPs to just overwhelm in logic to the Home Minister of India, Amit Shah. Amit Shah, you cannot arbitrarily classify things under the title or headlines of reasonable classification. You cannot classify the law or articles arbitrarily. And why they are arbitrary? You know the logic, and all opposition members explained it, but they did not say arbitrary. Here is the point. I was talking with some colleagues and some intelligent man or educated man. What they were talking, that entire opposition could not give overwhelming logic. That means surpassing the logic of Amit Shah. Every time they accuses Amit Shah of violating Indian Constitution from Article 14 to 21, but they were explaining all these things, but never told to the Amit Shah, you are talking, but your talking is not logical. You can go doing reasonable classifications, but you cannot be arbitrary. This point I wanted to emphasize and rest to in the 3 points. Amit Shah could not pass. Amit Shah could not make a stand his logic actually in the intelligible differentia. He is also failed to justify the things. And in the 3rd point, rational nexus. There is no rational nexus in this bringing the cab, and then it become a CAA. There is no rational nexus. There is no intelligible differentia either. How? Find out. I just give you a point to make you more intelligent. You have to go through books and magazines and televisions like us, and you have to understand. Even you can have buy a book of Indian Constitution. So what I wanted to show, my summary is that the entire opposition failed to stop the mind, intellect, brain of Amit Shah, have overwhelmed, surpass, dominate the logic of Amit Shah. Thank you. Shining off.